What's up guys, welcome to Chasing Folklore. I am George Martinez and today I want to talk about a really creepy topic, and that is the truth behind Michael Myers and other slashers like him. It is known that Halloween's character Michael Myers is one of the most popular characters in the horror genre, and I wanted to know if there was some sort of inspiration behind this character, or maybe there was some sort of truth behind the fiction. What I found out through a lot of research was that John Carpenter, the director, actually got his ideas and his inspiration from a field trip he once took with his university in Kentucky. He mentions that he was taking a psychology class, or a class that had to do with mental illnesses. So he took a field trip to a mental institution, and he said that he got to see a lot of the people that were there, and they actually had very serious illnesses. But one of these people actually caught his eye. There was a 12-year-old boy who had this really creepy look in his face, and it was just something that he couldn't describe. It just gave him really creepy vibes. And he actually gave this line to the psychologist of Michael Myers. In the movie, the psychologist says, "This blank, pale, emotionless face, blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil." Carpenter did not reveal further information about the boy's whereabouts or what happened to this boy, but what it is known is that this boy was really the inspiration of Michael Myers. There's other sources that say that Carpenter actually was inspired by a local serial killer of the time. From the research that I looked at, there's no actual evidence claiming that Carpenter was also inspired by a real-life serial killer. With the new movie coming out, it seems that people are getting really excited about the next Halloween movie and how Michael Myers is going to be portrayed in this instance. But the new director, the director of this new Halloween movie coming out, actually says that it doesn't actually matter who Michael Myers is. He paints Michael Myers to be an entity that has just no feelings, no remorse, no character, no interests, and he's just pure evil. Another horror movie favorite that I actually looked information about was that of Freddy Krueger. And Freddy Krueger, of course, is this deranged monster that can stalk people at night and in their dreams and actually kill them while they're having a nightmare in their dreams. Wes Craven, the director of The Nightmare on Elm Street, actually said that he got the inspiration from these events, from this movie, because he was reading the newspaper. And he found a really interesting article. He found an article about Cambodian refugees who were actually dying in their sleep. The article referred to Cambodian genocide, a time when millions of people were actually murdered, some starved to death, and some were killed by disease during a civil war in Cambodia. The article also stated that some of these people were actually really afraid of their nightmares and believed that a demon was chasing them in their nightmares, and then they would eventually kill them. So Craven thought that this was very interesting, and he put it all together with his own scary recollection of his own childhood. As a child, Craven was actually bullied quite often, and yeah, you guessed it, by a child named Freddy Krueger. So he saw that the name was just fitting. Craven also mentions that as a child, he encountered a really creepy event. Apparently one night as a child, he was sleeping in his bed, and he heard a knock in the window behind him. So he decided to get up, look through the window, and just peek through, and he saw a man just silently staring back at him. And when the man saw that the kid was staring at him back, he just smiled. And he smiled in that sort of way that is just really creepy, in the way that it seemed that he was like happy that he was tormenting this little kid, and the fact that this kid was scared made him happy. And as we know, the enjoyment of torturing children before he kills them is part of Freddy Krueger's MO. A Nightmare on Elm Street was one of those movies that really stuck with me when I was a kid. I remember going to school and hearing about this movie, and actually back then there was a bunch of movies coming out of Freddy Krueger. I didn't see, I guess, the first one, but I know I saw one of them when I was a kid, and I remember that movie just like gave me nightmares, and it was just one of the creepiest, craziest things I saw, because he wasn't just a slasher, but he was like a slasher, and he was in your dreams, and he controlled them, and he just could do anything, and that was just like the creepiest part of it all. So next we have a man who actually inspired a bunch of different movies. He inspired Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he inspired Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lamb, and he inspired Norman Bates from Psycho. This man's name was Ed Gein, and Gein was so perverse that he committed crimes against actually live people and also on the dead. Gein grew up in a farm with his mom and his brother, and according to the legend, one day in the farm there was a fire, and his brother apparently or allegedly died from the fire. But it is believed that his brother did not die from the fire. It is believed that Gein actually killed his brother. Later on, his mother actually passed away, and then Gein started living alone in the farm. Gein was one of those people who would just never go out. He would never talk to anyone, and he appeared to just live alone in solitude without anyone being there. Gein, when he was a child, he was the kind of person who just didn't have a lot of friends. People thought that he was a little strange, and there was an instance where he was in his classroom and he started just bursting out laughing, and it appears that he was laughing just to himself and to no one else. Also, there is allegedly a story about his mother being really controlling in his life, and he couldn't ever go out, he couldn't do anything on his own, and she said that just going outside was evil, and drinking was evil, and seeing other people and being with others was just evil. His mother was truly a controlling force in his life, and he couldn't do anything because of her. It is said that after his mother's death, all the strange and creepy events actually started happening. In November of 1957, there was a hardware store owner who actually disappeared from the hardware store. In this town, her son actually happened to be the sheriff, and he started asking people around if they had seen anybody come into the hardware store before her disappearance, and somebody told them that Gein was the last person who walked into his store. So he decided to go to Gein's house to further investigate the issue and see if his mother was actually there. When the police arrived at Gein's house, they expected to find clues about the store owner's whereabouts, but they were certainly not prepared for what came next. Gein's house was actually filled with human body parts. There was skulls all over the place, there was utensils made of skin, there was faces made of skin, there was leggings made of actually leg skin. It was a horrible sight. There was actually, I think he made a chair made of actual human skin. This place was absolutely horrifying, and he actually told police that when he committed these crimes, these murders, and the bodies he took out of the ground, he actually was in some sort of dazed state. But the creepiest thing he ever said to them was that after his mother passed, he actually wanted to build a suit of, I guess, his mother, so he could put on the suit and then become his mother, because I guess he missed her so much. But it was just super insane, super crazy. Ed Gein was duly arrested and then he was put on trial. But apparently it was ruled that he wasn't competent enough because of reason of insanity. He couldn't actually stand the trial, so they put him in a mental institution. He was in a mental institution after this whole life and actually passed away. Honestly, all of these slashers are actually really creepy, and when I was a kid, just hearing their name used to freak me out. But what do you guys think? Who do you guys think is the creepiest and scariest slasher of them all? Which one's your favorite? Comment down below and let me know. I would say that my personal favorite has to be Freddy Krueger. At least the one that I think is the scariest is Freddy Krueger, because he wasn't just a slasher to me, but he was also like a supernatural force that you just couldn't stop. So to me, that brought me a lot of nightmares. And as always, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you guys like stuff like this. Also subscribe. We put videos up every Monday and every Thursday. And if you want to send me any stories or any creepy stuff, my email is down below. Okay, guys? So I guess we'll see each other on the next chase.